Welcome to the Landing Zone podcast. I'm your host, Lloyd Knights. This podcast is used to help veterans, service members, and spouses find their next career, and hopefully at UPS. Joining me today is Eric Wesolowski, the military recruiter on my team at UPS. Welcome, Eric.
Hey, Lloyd, thanks for having me once again for the second time here. I think the last time was a few months ago and kind of had a little bit of a change of a hairdo last time I think we
Yeah,
spoke
so
there.
Eric has some big news to announce. You want to talk about some of your Marine Corps news there, Eric?
Yeah, so I was about 10 years active, and then the last few years since 2021, I've been in the reserve component, and I took a little bit of a break. So I was out of the Marine Corps for about 8 months or so, and really decided I missed it and I wanted to get back in, one for, continue on for retirement, and then also two, just to be there for my unit as well. So I just recently got back in over in Southern
And if
California
you're a
there.
new,
It's
if you're a
great to be
new
back.
viewer, you probably can tell from behind me that I'm a U.S. Air Force veteran, retired. So 20 years in the Air Force, 17 as an aircraft loadmaster, flying largely C-141 Starlifters, and I know I'm showing my age, but also flew C-23 Sherpas and C-5 Galaxies, and spent my final 3 years, as you see on the background, as a first sergeant. So, Eric, we had some. You've been on the team for a year. I've been in this new role for 2 years, developing strategy to help us get better at hiring the service members and veterans. And we saw a lot of results from that first year to the second year. Can you talk a little bit about them?
Yeah, for that first year of fully really put in that seat in 2024 here, wheels down for that first full year. We were able to increase, and it was an effort across the whole board, whether it was with our VBRG groups or, just our own small team as well. But we were able to drive a 35% increase from 2023 to 2024. Within that 2024, about 9,000 additional applications, and ultimately that's what we were kind of set out to do, is to drive applications here for the first
Yeah,
year.
that's
So great
that's
success.
awesome. And we kind of had a rough year at UPS for hiring and because of economic conditions, but we brought in a lot of veterans. And Eric and I went to a great job fair out in north of Dallas. It was called RTAG. It was a job fair specifically to hire pilots.
Yep.
So UPS added a whole lot of pilots last year. We've added some mechanics, both
Mm-hmm.
vehicle and base, some industrial engineers, and so we did our fair share of hiring. Then, as always, we hired a lot of veterans for peak season because some of our veteran workforce wants to
Yeah.
come out there and work for that 4 to 8 week period, and some of them get the opportunity to stay on. So overall, a successful year. We got some more work to do, but we're making real progress, and I think
Mm-hmm.
Eric and I are both excited about the 2025. When Eric and I first, started talking about this next podcast, we wanted to provide some really advice on how to be a better candidate at UPS. So, Eric, what are you seeing out there that you can offer?
Yeah. No. So for 2025, taking some of the things that we learned from 2024 and really be able to make decisions for 2025, and as far as when it comes to really, trends that I'm seeing from veterans and servicemen and women applying for roles at UPS, I kind of wanted to really start it off with the ATS systems out there as well. So for those of you that aren't too familiar with the ATS systems out there, applicant tracking systems, pretty much all big companies are really utilizing those right now. And what they're really used for is to think about an applications here, and it's going to go through a funnel of different, screening platforms all the way down to really when that recruiter gets through and is able to view and really see if you're going to be the best fit for that role as well. So I wanted to start with the ATS systems. A lot of the things that I see is And I think you could probably attest to this too, Lloyd. Is a lot of the time we really don't see targeted
Yeah.
resumes.
So one of the things that remember about the ATS systems and why bigger companies use them is just the
Mm.
sheer number of applications we see. So
Yeah,
there's
thousands.
some jobs that will get 5,000 plus applicants for a singular job. So there's no way that we can
Hmm.
uh, like look at every single one of those. So we need technology to help, and the top tier of those applications will get to the recruiter, and then the recruiter's job is to
Yep.
they kind of serve as the gatekeeper, and they'll review.
Hmm.
What the applicant tracking system tells them they should review, and then they decide who the hiring manager sees. And then the hiring manager is going to make the
Yep.
ultimate determination on who gets interviewed. So targeting your resume is so important. The because of
Hmm.
that. So what's targeting your resume? Targeting your resume specifically means I'm going to showcase that I have the required and then the desired skills, knowledge, education, and experience. And the more that you can
Hmm.
showcase you have the required and desired skills, knowledge, education, experience, the better you're going to be able to get by, first of all, the applicant tracking system, and then second, all the recruiter, the gatekeeper, into the hiring manager's
Yeah.
hands. So have a great resume. Then make sure you spend the time to target that resume. If you don't do those things,
Mhm.
the percentage of success you're going to have to make it to the interview is going to be very, very low. So you got to ask yourself this: am I
Right.
applying for jobs and never hearing back from anybody? And if that answer is yes, you need to do something different, and probably that thing you need to do different is to tailor that resume.
100%. Yeah, and I see that all the time, especially with on the in the veteran community as well. Inside that ATS system, a lot of the things, and I've seen this really big in 2024 trends was knockout questions as well. And those knockout questions are there really to see if you're a qualified candidate as well, because that eliminates it right off the bat whether you're going to be able to come through and be a potential fit for that role as well. So I think we had, not really going into the number wise, but we had a huge increase of knockout questions where a veteran didn't really even get the chance to come through and to be, uh, the, even get their resume taken a look at as well, just because, they answered those knockout questions incorrectly. And so some of the advice that I will give is really slow down whenever you're reading a lot of these job descriptions. Take some time, set aside all the distractions and focus and comprehend what this job description entitles. Take a look at the knockout questions and thoroughly answer those knockout questions without just kind of clicking through, because I've seen a huge trend in knockout questions, just knocking them out right off the bat there. I don't know if you have any more to add on to
Yeah,
that,
absolutely.
Lloyd.
Just slow down and see what the question is actually asking you. And because we've seen so many of the knockout questions that the folks were just not paying attention. Do you have a driver's license? You know, uh, yeah,
That was a big one.
sometimes that question will be asked a little differently. So sometimes you'll answer it yes for the first application, and then they'll change the wording, and you'll answer it no the second time. So slow down, read each question correctly, and then the sometimes also the knockout questions will be asking for really the required. You remember we talked about required and desired skills, knowledge, education, experience. Sometimes the knockout
Yeah.
question will be for the required skills, knowledge, education, experience, and pay attention to
Hmm.
what it is saying. The is it saying that you have to be have extensive knowledge in like something, or is it saying you have to have a working knowledge? A working knowledge is
Hmm.
very easy to get. So, again, Eric, you gave perfect advice. Slow down, right? Make sure you're answering the question that they're actually asking. So do yourself a favor and get those right And you usually notice right away if you got one of the knockout questions, because sometimes it won't let you
Yeah.
go any further, or sometimes you'll get to the very end and it goes, "Hey, you weren't qualified for this position." And it's that way because you answered a knockout question wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yep, for sure. And another big thing as well is, when we talk about the ATS systems, a lot of these ATS systems, for UPS, we utilize Workday for our ATS system. When we talk about a resume that's just a 2-page or a 1 to 2 pager, right? But not utilizing these over the wall kind of resumes where your picture's on there and a lot of different graphs, that ATS system will not, it really can't compute when you add in that type of resume. So keep it very brief, keep it very simple with your resume so it can track and siphon through that ATS system.
That's great advice,
well.
Eric. So let's cover that a little bit. So if you've been a viewer of this podcast for a while, I'm a big fan of Hire Heroes USA. They have a crisp and clean format. It works really well with the ATS systems. So highly recommend you do that. And guess what? It's free. It's free for you or your spouse can do it. So that's a great a master resume. Then there's also some technology out there. I don't really recommend having a AI like do your application or do your resume. But one of the big things I'm a fan of is let AI actually score your resume. So you can drop the job description in the AI, and you can drop your resume, and it'll tell you what a percentage of match. And a lot of systems will actually give you advice on how to change your resume. So that's really, really good. If there's a required cover letter, AI is wonderful on cover letters. I've actually done a couple myself where you drop in your application and then you drop in the job description, and it creates a beautiful cover letter instantly. So use technology, but to your advantage, but always double check that technology is doing what you want it to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, great advice, especially with utilizing what we have at our own fingertips. Another thing when we talked about kind of slowing down, reading the job description, is there's keywords throughout those job descriptions, really what we're kind of looking for, right? And so you got to be able to organically figure out how to implement these keywords into your resume. One, it sounds better, right? That's what we're looking for. And two, that ATS system is going to rank your resume based off of that criteria as well. So slow down, take a look at what those words are, those job description roles and responsibilities, and how can I organically add that into my resume to be able to siphon through and be able to have a higher ranking within that ATS
The good thing
system.
is the job description is your answer key. The job description tells you exactly what we're looking for. It will tell you those keywords. So one thing that veterans really do bad is they try to make it just like their performance reports, and tons of fluffy language, and get rid of all the fluff. Don't focus on the fluff, focus on the keywords. And the answer key is the job description.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we see that time and time throughout. And, you got to think about I would say 70% of the hiring managers or the recruiters that are really going to see this, maybe even higher than that, had no career in the military. They don't know some of that terminology. So you got to figure out a way to take what you've learned and the skills that you've acquired and be able to put that into the terminology of what we're really looking for that role.
Yeah, I saw one today. It was a pretty decent resume, but they had NVGs like throughout. They probably mentioned NVGs like 9 or 10 times. It's a no-brainer if you've been in the military. You know what NVGs are. But guess what? A lot of the recruiters have never been in the military. They don't know anybody who's been in the U.S. military. They might not even the first line recruiter sit in the United States. So English could very definitely be their second language. So you got to translate everything. And again, Hire Heroes USA will help you do that for sure.
I think one of the biggest words that I see that come through is a lot of people will put
Yeah.
battalion, battalion manager or something, whatever that is. But I see that a lot, and that nobody really knows what that is on this side. So luckily, a lot of companies have teams like this in place where we can see that, and that's what we're doing today is really showing you some of the trends that we see. So that way, 2025, you have a higher chance of really
Yeah, I
getting
get
through.
resumes
So.
that I don't understand at times, which is crazy. I'm an Army brat. My dad's retired Army. The
Mhm.
I was in the Air Force for 20 years. I lead veteran talent acquisition at one of the largest veteran employers in the world. I run a nonprofit veterans club called Vetlanta in Atlanta that's got every branch of the service. And while if I don't understand
Yeah.
it, a normal recruiter is not. So again, there's a lot of resources
Mhm.
out there. A lot of great partners with UPS. So I mentioned Hire Heroes USA. If you need a mentor, American Corporate Partners is out there. If you need some transition assistance, Four Block is a great partner. Who else are we partnering there with, Eric?
We we have a handful of partnerships, and that was going to be one of my keys of advice is, you know, we have so many different things really going on for 2025 is and for yourself as, a potential candidate, how do you get in uh, to be a partner with some of these organizations to really get your face out there, especially so we can, see your face here at UPS. But so we have on the tech side, we're partnered with Microsoft MSSA program, which does a lot of cloud computing, cybersecurity cohorts. Four Block, which is an amazing organization. We'll be attending the Four Block coming up as well. So I'll be hosting one the 27th here in just a few days, and then Lloyd, you've got one coming up as
Yeah,
well.
we got one coming up here at corporate headquarters here in a couple weeks. I think you just did 50 strong not too long ago. A
Yep. So we did 50 strong. We're with Troops to Logistics. That's a big one we did just recently. Got partnered up in 2024, and we're really jumping into that 2025 as well. Um, Work for Warriors. Work for Warriors has been amazing with really sending a lot of referrals over to us. And that's just some of our partnerships right there. And then Orion Talent, which does a lot of our on-base recruiting. So if you're ever at base and you have a job fair coming up, you see a company called Orion Talent. Take a look, stop by their table. They have a lot of different information and really ways to get in contact with us as well. But what Orion's there, they're there to share what we're doing here at UPS and how you can be a valuable candidate as well. And no, not just for we see this a lot at job fairs, right? People walk by and see the UPS. Essentially, we don't just drive trucks, brown trucks here, right? We have so many different operations, different type of, whether it's HR, whether it's security investigator, whether it's a whole wide range of different things that really makes the wheel turn here for
mechanics
UPS.
is we're always looking to hire mechanics, industrial
Mm-hmm.
engineers, sales, you name it, we have it. I think UPS probably has more different career fields than all the branches of service combined, which is pretty spectacular. We have
Yep.
500,000 employees with about 350,000 in the U.S. All right, Eric, what closing advice can you give for a service member, a veteran, or spouse that's looking for employment?
Yeah, no, great question. I would say for 2025, some of the trends that we just kind of talked about with the ATS systems and targeting your resume, I would say one, take a look at LinkedIn. Make sure your presence is very, you have a good presence on LinkedIn. Everything's professional. Everything's set up, ready to go in case somebody does view your profile. So get out there on LinkedIn. Get out there on social. Kind of create your own branding. And then two, UPS Jobs is really where you're going to find a lot of our different roles. Go on to UPS Jobs, add in additional, job alerts. So when something comes up that kind of fits your realm of skills, it will automatically send you an email with locations and the desired role as well. Go to our military webpage. You can take a look at a lot of different things that we have going on, whether it's our partnerships, whether it's different ways to get in touch with you, so you can actually add your information on our military intake form. And then once you do that, you'll get an email from me as well, probably within about a week or so. And so really, once you get all of that thing started set up, and it comes time to going into different roles that you're interested in, take the time, read through, pull those job descriptions out, be able to organically fit them into your resume for a targeted resume. And then once you submit that, right, take a look at LinkedIn, see maybe if you know anybody at UPS, any veterans, non-veterans. Maybe, I think you have a great saying as well, right, Lloyd? You say you always say it. It's such a great saying. We're not as strong as our
yeah. So yeah, the saying is, as veterans, we are only as strong as our non-veteran advocates, because it's
Yes.
kind of self-serving if it's just us talking. So we have some amazing non-veteran advocates at UPS. So I'll close it with this advice, Eric, is network. Like, right. Oftentimes when you land a job, it's somebody's helping you out. It's somebody you know. So Eric and I are definitely here to support you, but there's a lot of other people that are around as well. So thanks, Eric, for coming on the landing zone again. Look for Eric probably about another 4 or 5 times this year. We're going to keep you updated on trends and hot jobs and partnerships. And so because we want to see you in a UPS uniform, whether it's red that I'm wearing today or black or the traditional brown. So I'm going to end it like I always end it. Be safe, be kind, and be remarkable.